Dear Mr. Hyundai, I hope you're happy with your dealer network, and I bet you're not too worried that many people who have helped fund your luxury homes and luxury yachts risk their life day in and day out driving in your cars. But I would like to ask a direct question to you and your other directors who are part of the Hyundai Corporation. The question is, why do you tell fibs? Why do you bullshit and say 5 years warranty and 100,000 miles on your cars when you know full well the only bit that stands any chance of getting a free rectification is the engine? And I bet even then your team are trained to wiggle and worm and avoid honoring that. By saying no, you neglected to check oil before you drove it, and no doubt a dozen more pre-scripted excuses to dodge the claims. So why do you do it? Why do you tell people that owning a Hyundai is cheap and will be trouble-free when you know full well it's not? Why do you count miles per gallon figures which are all bullshit, as my little i20 car has managed best around 32 miles per gallon, and that's pretty shit being honest, and again not as told when your smooth salesman did to stitch me up on the sale. Why is it that parts of the car have been shoddily assembled, with sticky plastic chrome effect tapes, which peel off over time? Why is it that when opting to fill a tank with fuel you need to suffer fuel smells for days until it's back down to half a tank? But the biggest question I would like to ask is, why do customers, once they have purchased and paid for their cars, get treated like shit? Is it a deliberate attempt to ensure people only ever buy one car from you, in some new type of plan save the planet's metals or something, which the other car manufacturers haven't cottoned on to yet? I ask you to watch and follow the story of my own experience with the dealer response representing you, who quite happily cannot be arsed to give a mechanic 30 minutes overtime to check a urgent dangerous brake issue, but opts for the tough shit. Not our problem. We know the vehicle testers say it's unsafe and if wet can skid and kill many people, but that's fine. Come back when we aren't so busy. Then reply back and let me know your views, as I am keenly awaiting to engage a full website tackling this and other Hyundai car issues, and it's only fair to have someone of importance in the mighty giant corporation. You have to explain why I should be grateful to have spent money on your car and to be treated like garbage for the fact of choosing it. You can reply on this video or email. Obviously you won't, as you're probably out on your jet somewhere planning the next bullshit advert or something. But I have asked, so my bit is done. Talking to dealers is like talking to a brick wall, and so maybe an open request in public could work. Yours sincerely, the Brit boy in Spain who has his car off the road because no fucker can be arsed to even spend 15 minutes to look at it. And then a further 15 minutes to change the faulty parts. Hello there, my Hyundai has just failed its first MOT. They said the back brake is no good and is faulty, so I must not drive it as I could crash and kill others. Can you get a mechanic to look at it quickly, so as I can get it back for testing and all safe, please? It could be a warranty thingy, as it's only done 25,000 miles or so. I brought it new from you a few years ago and you have done all scheduled servicing, so I am a tad worried that brakes are dangerous.
Hello sir, I have no mechanics free at the moment, and brakes are not covered in any warranty, so forget any silly warranty thoughts. Best I can do is if you bring it over next week, leave it with us, we can look at brakes for you. And if we can fit it in.
I think you misheard. The car is dangerous, it's failed its test. The man said it cannot be drove, so it's not a case of bringing it over for a service, is it? It needs urgent attention now.
I heard fine, it's your car not ours. We do not care a stuff if we sold it, and care even less about who you kill or knock over on the way back to us. Like I said, we are busy and cannot do anything for 2 weeks. So take your crap car and come back then. It is not our problem, we have sold it, so live with it. Drive it or catch a bus, your choice, so goodbye now.
Holy crap, are you for real? Is this Hyundai policy and aftercare backup? All you got to do is jack the car, whip off the hub and see what's up. It could be a simple 2-minute fix. Give me some space and spanners, I will whip the bleeding hub off for fuck's sake. 2 weeks. Is this normal Hyundai policy? Where's that shister guy? Get him down here. He promised backup and no hassles for 5 years guaranteed.
Shyster has left, he is selling timeshare now. Look, no, you cannot work on our premises. and we are too busy, so take your car and do what you like. Bring it back in a week or so, or do not. I do not care. It's your car and not our problem. Everyone knows our 5-year bullshit is just bullshit, so serves you right for being such a skinful in tight ass and buying a Hyundai in the first place. Now bugger off, I am busy. Like I told you, we are way too busy to fluff around on customers' cars. It's sales we want. So go now, goodbye.
Well, stuff you then, and I assure you people will know what a pile of shite the Hyundai warranty and backup bullshit is. And thanks for putting my own and others' lives at risk by providing cars with shitback brakes that pack up even after you dealers have done the approved service schedules. So up yours, you Spanish twat. Maybe Spanish people put up with your unhelpful attitude, but us Brits do not. You and your car's backup warranties are a rip-off scam load of shite, and I shall let people know accordingly. Adios, bag.
Whatever, just bugger off and go tell your mates on Facebook. Who cares? Us and Hyundai won't, will they? So bye bye, Brit boy.
Hi again, it's Brit Boy from Spain here. Here is the latest update to this Hyundai dodgy iffy back brake which no fucker at Hyundai cares a jot about. Well, the car will not be going anywhere near the dealers, unless it's for them to dump it in the scrap yard around the corner from them. The more I have thought about this, the more angry I am, as I now have this feeling that the brake has been faulty from leaving the showroom. Why is that, I hear you ask? Well, seems as you asked, I shall go ahead and tell you fine folks why. There was 2 occasions, both in the wet, one 6 months ago and one way back over a year ago. The 6 months ago was going downhill into the town on a gradual slope where a weird clunking sound and rear left wheel lockup took place. This I assumed was just ABS system noise with it doing its job, but the weird thing was it just skidded on the back and kind of snaked the car. Not a problem to me, being a superb driver with 30 years experience on many vehicles from motorbikes to HGV trucks, and so the good old-fashioned dab the brake pedal made what could have been a nasty accident into a easy controlled stop. Similarly, years back, driving on a dual carriageway in the wet and approaching a roundabout, I needed to brake sharply and the clunking rear sounds and snaking in car twitching occurred, which was weird, but just assumed maybe a patch of oil on road or something and ABS kicking in. Again, with quick good driving skill, it was controlled and didn't think no more of it. Remember, this car is just the run-around town car for shopping, lobbing your garden rubbish in for the tip and any day-to-day stuff. So never thrashed or raced, it's just a poodle around town kind of car and use. Is this a bash at Hyundai for no reason? Certainly not. In general, it's drove nice apart from after always suffering with the intermittent smell of petrol when driving on a full tank and no signs of where it comes from. I just keep it at halfway and it never has the problem then. Just when tank full. Also, it has a few minor shoddy finishing on components, but then it's not a car brought for pulling birds. It's what it is, a cheap family hatchback for poodling around in. Fuel consumption is weak and not as I was told it would be. But so what, I only do 6,000 miles a year in it on average. On the plus side, it's always started, the aircon unit is superb and she drives quiet and comfortable. So has done its job. But when I think and start to look at this brake issue, the real issue is for, I would say, 3 years, I have possibly been driving the accident waiting to happen. A combination of rain, wet roads and needing to do an emergency stop at speed whilst having the grandkids in the back or something is scary. Luckily it's mainly always dry in Spain, and so on average only about 1 day and 50 would the car be drove in wet conditions. And maybe that's why I escaped a serious problem. This and my advanced driving skill and experience to never get in emergency brake situations has probably saved me from being a mangled wreck. Then again, it sets you thinking. Imagine the following scenario. You have a full car, 2 young kids in the back, luggage stuffed in the boot, and a weak inexperienced driver at the wheel, merrily zipping along the road in the rain singing all those catchy family songs, when suddenly the car or truck ahead makes a sudden stop. The driver at this stage with instinct will jam the brakes on. At this point, with only 3 good brakes, the car will lock on the good rear and twist and throw the whole car, setting up a escalating snaking twisting motion, and stability will be gone. Add the lack of braking distance a further 25% on length, and the family is thrown from singing Jing Gang Gooly Gooly Watch It Jing Gang Goo into a mummy or holy shit help us God we are gonna crash situation. Scary, isn't it? Well, not what you expect, is it? But the danger is this is like a silent killer, as let's follow this even further down the possibility. The car has crashed, kids are dead or injured, and now suddenly they are saying to you, well, looking at the skid mark distance you traveled, you must have been speeding. And how your vehicle ended up, you must have been too close, so was driving without due care, blah blah. At this point you would not have a clue it was the fault of the back brake being faulty, nor would any investigators. Because once the car is a mangled mess of metal and bloody body parts, they would look at brakes and say all looks fine, so your story of how it snaked and locked would be very iffy. The car could never have a brake test on a proper rolling road, as it's now a smashed up wreck. So Hyundai have got away scot-free, and you're now recovering in hospital before you are carted off to prison for deaths by dangerous driving or similar, and your family is dead. So for Hyundai to laugh this brake issue as one big joke is a serious disgrace and unforgivable in my eyes. On this car we are lucky I know how to drive well after driving for millions of miles. It's been dry, never drove fast, just been the poodle around car, and only does a few miles a week. But what could have been the story? Indeed, how many other cars are at risk as you watch this? We know Hyundai do not care a jot, and all accidents with Hyundais written off cannot be checked, can they? So I wonder how many deaths or injuries have been caused with this brake issue, with nobody having a clue why. So my course of action is resolved. Like I said, Hyundai will not be allowed near my car. And I will wait and see what professional independent car assessor makes of the brake problem and go from there. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for updates, and if you have a Hyundai with rear drum brakes, be afraid, very afraid, especially in the wet. Bye now.